Hi everyone, it's more Rhonda from the Jewish Virtual Preschool. Rosh HaShanah is just around the corner, and I wanted to wish you a Shana Tova Umasuka, a happy and sweet new year. Well, as adults, we know what it means that there's going to be a new year. But what does that mean for children to whom, time is a very abstract concept? A lot of times we're not used to defining our terms when we're talking to our children because language is acquired in context, meaning a child knows what water is because they taste water and they see water and they hear water and they feel water. And we've pointed to water, we've said water, we've named it, we've labeled it for them. And so that's how they construct their understanding of that vocabulary. But what happens when we talk about a concept or a vocabulary that's abstract, like a new year? How are we going to personalize that and make sure that our children understand what it is that we talk about? A lot of people don't try to even explain it because they don't feel like they can understand it, or they don't feel like they have the tools to be able to relate that back to their children. So children, obviously, especially young children, they can't tell time, but they feel time. And that's why we wouldn't necessarily tell a child, well, at 3 o'clock this afternoon, at 3 p.m., we're going to go to the park. You might say to a child, after your nap, we're going to go to the park. Or before dinner, we're going to go pick up your brother and your sister from school. Or your bubby is going to come and visit us in 3 sleeps from now. So we're going to relate it back to personal experience. But how are we going to explain that it's a new year? What references a child have to this kind of passage in time? And how are we going to make it concrete? So that is part of the challenge. Here's the flip side of that challenge. While we want to make it concrete and relatable, at the same time, we don't want to oversimplify language. You see, between the ages of birth and 6 years, there's this huge window of opportunity, this huge developmental window that is open and available to children to acquire language. That's why it's so much easier when we think about what children are capable of learning by way of language in such a short amount of time, if an adult was going to acquire a new language in such a short amount of time with such precision of accent and tone, and it's mind-boggling what children are able to accomplish. And part of the reason that they're able to do that is because they are just biologically programmed to acquire language, and there is just this huge, like I said, developmental window open and available to them to do that. So we want to, at the same time, where they have this kind of insatiable hunger for language, they're constantly pointing things and naming things and labeling things, and at the same time overgeneralizing things. So they might say dog, but anything with 4 legs might be a dog. It could be a cat, a horse, everything is a dog. And they might say car, but everything with wheels is a car. So while they're very busy trying to, make sense of the information that they're taking in and understand it and construct a relationship to it, we want to be careful to not oversimplify the language, and take advantage of their natural curiosity, of their desire to learn more about the world. The world will never be more exciting as when we are children. And so an example of that is, let's say you want to give your child an apple as a snack. Instead of saying, would you like an apple, you might want to pull out a Granny Smith and a Macintosh. Say, well, would you like a Granny Smith or a Macintosh? And the child is going to be able to see, well, a Granny Smith looks like this. This is the shape of a Granny Smith. This is the taste of a Granny Smith. This is the color of a Macintosh, the shape of a Macintosh, and it has a different taste than a Granny Smith. But we want to name, we want to label those experiences for our children, as opposed to overgeneralizing, which is what they're doing, right? We don't want to overgeneralize and just call everything an apple. Same thing if we go to the park and there's a bunch of dogs playing. You might want to say, whoa, what a beautiful, cute gray or silver poodle. You might say, what a beautiful, playful golden retriever. That chihuahua seems a little grumpy today. And so by varying our language and our vocabulary, we're really expanding our child's ability to connect and relate to the world in a varied and more discerning kind of way, and build their language and their understanding of their environment. So how is this going to feed into how is this sorry how is this going to feed into this concept of talking about the new year? So the high holiday bundle at the Jewish virtual preschool explains to children that Rosh HaShanah is it's what is it? It's the birthday of the world. And just like you have a birthday, maybe in your next birthday you're going to be, maybe you're 3 now, and in your next birthday, you're going to be turning 4, and I'm 20, and at my next birthday I'm going to be turning 21. Well, the world, the world, and the name of the world has a name. The name of the world is called Earth. The Earth is also going to have a birthday, and it's going to be also another year older. And we could also talk about, how does it work that things just become another year older? So we're going to be introducing some sophisticated concepts that are abstract, but we're going to try to concretize them, but not rob them of the rich and the varied language that we could use. So we could talk about the earth, and that the earth has a job, just like mommy has a job and daddy has a job and your brothers and sisters, they have a job. Their job is to go to school and to learn. So too, the earth has a job, and the job of the earth is to go around the sun. Well, we're not going to assume anything. We're not going to assume that they know what the sun is. We're going to say, what the sun, how does the sun feel? The sun feels warm. The sun is bright. Sometimes we need to wear sunglasses when we look at the sun because it's so bright. Well, when we use our representation of the sun in the virtual classroom, we're going to light a candle to show that the sun it's a ball of fire in the sky. It's a ball of fire right here on our map. And the job of the earth is to go around the sun. And how long does it take for the earth to go around the sun? Well, it takes 12 months to get the job done. It takes an entire year. And we're going to label what those months are: January, February, March, and April. We're going to go through all the months of the year. And we're going to ask our children, what month were you born in? What month is your birthday? They might say April. That's right. You were born when the earth was in April. And now the earth is going to go around the sun. And when it comes back to April, it's going to be a birthday for you. You're going to be another year older. Well, so too, every time the earth gets to a certain place, it's another year older. And the earth turns another year older. The earth's birthday is on Rosh HaShanah. So every Rosh HaShanah, it's the earth's birthday. And so that's just a beautiful way to really expand concepts and ideas and build on a child's curiosity and desire to learn. I mean, life is fascinating. Who needs fantasy? I mean, honestly, who needs all this fantasy? Life itself is fantastical. It's just so incredible. The sun and the earth and the moon and the stars and animals, everything is just so magnificent. And so when we get to eventually in other lessons and we talk about, well, what is the earth? Well, the earth happens to be a place where you live and where I live. And we're going to talk about how do we know that we live on the earth. And so that will be another post that we'll do. And who lives on the earth? And more importantly, who is the Melech HaOlam? Who is the king of the world, the king of the earth? Who created the earth? And from there, we're going to talk about Hashem. And we get into this whole idea of Malchus and creation and what he created. And it's a beautiful approach to building some really solid foundations of knowledge and vocabulary that we could continue to build on throughout the entire year. I hope you're going to join us on our online learning adventure, and grow and learn and celebrate with us. Looking forward to seeing you there.